All right, good afternoon, everyone. Hopefully everybody can hear me okay. My name is Lauren Rodebach, and I'm the Marketing Manager at Gotham Technology Group. I'll be your host for today's session with Citrix and want to thank you all for joining us. On the line, we've got Andrew Meyer, Gotham's Senior Director of Professional Services, and Ernesto Kling, Mobility Sales Engineer for Citrix, to walk you through today's content. Before we begin, I want to review a few housekeeping items. To start, the webinar will run about 45 minutes and will include a formal Q&A session at the end. We will be recording the webinar in listen-only mode, which just means you'll be muted for the entirety of the presentation to avoid outside interruptions. During this time, please feel free to use the chat window located on the bottom right of your screen to submit any questions throughout the presentation. Andrew and Ernesto will address them all at the end. Thanks again, everyone, for joining us. And Andrew, please feel free to get started.
Thanks a lot, Lauren. Hi, everyone. I'm Andy Meyer with Gotham Technology Group, and I want to welcome everyone to our webinar today. I want to thank you all for taking some time out of your busy schedules to hear about this.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
There we are. Again, just want to thank everyone for coming today, and hopefully you can gain something out of this and learn some stuff about, the solution that Citrix is bringing to market here. We've got a lot of experience in the mobility marketplace. We've seen a lot of different solutions that have been brought to market by different manufacturers, trying to get their arms around device management, around application management, around enterprise file shares. And it's our opinion that Citrix really has the most mature solution in the marketplace today. They've got really all aspects of the solution covered, as well as understanding that Citrix has long been had the best experience in remote access, for lack of a better term, and then taking that to today's enterprise mobility management challenges that organizations face, puts them really, they understand the pain points, and they understand what people need to get out of their devices. They understand end user experience, and that's really, I think, one of their competitive advantages that goes into the development of the product. So we're super excited about the latest versions of XenMobile and ShareFile. We've got a lot of experience already implementing that for customers. I think we've done about 18 different projects this year alone in implementing it for customers in different forms, and there's really been very tight integration across the enterprise. A lot of people looking to do custom development around their own applications and bring it into the platform, and really enabling their end users to securely use the devices that they want to use, right? That's the demand. They want to use their device, but you need to manage it, control it, and secure it. And really bringing these technologies together is the way to go. So today, we're not going to blind you with PowerPoint. Ernesto is going to bring you through some material and then do a demonstration, and hopefully it can be thought-provoking for you. And we'll do some follow-ups afterwards should you have questions. So Ernesto, take it away.
All right, thank you very much, Andrew, for that neat introduction. Good afternoon or good morning, wherever you're located, and welcome again. So as Andrew was very kindly mentioning, we're going to talk a little bit about XenMobile and ShareFile and how we can use these two technologies from Citrix to empower the mobility, and really at the end of the day, what it comes down to is to give your users a better experience, enable them to be mobile, and of course, bring the power of mobility to your organizations. So as Andrew mentioned, at Citrix, we do have some experience with this already. As you can imagine, we have over 25 years experience in Windows app delivery, and very recently, well, we just jumped into the mobility space, into mobile device management, mobile application management, and of course, data sync. So just to take you quickly through the agenda, we're going to start by looking at a little bit about the changing workforces, what exactly has driven Citrix to jump into the space. And we're also going to talk about the enterprise mobility management, which is, I'm sure, it's a buzz term for many of you. Enterprise mobility management as opposed to MDM. We're going to talk a little bit about those differences. And then quickly cover secure data collaboration with ShareFile and look at how this all comes together to create what we call the mobile workspace. Now we're only going to spend about few minutes with the PowerPoint and really jump into the demonstration of the product, which is what we're going to focus the majority of our time today on. So when we talk about the changing workforces, a neat thing to think about, first of all, is what is happening out there in the industry, what is contrasting and what is really clashing with users these days. Well, on the one side, we have the old ways, and the old ways probably sound a little familiar if we think about the monolithic options of devices that we used to have. For instance, the corporate BlackBerry to people which would be tied to, of course, having that requirement to come into the office to access certain data, to do certain types of work. Very standardized, very monolithic in that sense, and of course sometimes even requiring a wired connection or some form of VPN client to connect to your resources to really provide your users with not many abilities to work remotely. Now that clashes with the new reality, and the new reality is that every user is using, on average, between 2 and 3 devices. So users are really mobile, really. What it comes down is that we're really switching those wired connections, we're switching those to wireless connections. We're bringing in a mashup of devices, so it's no longer just the corporate BlackBerry. Now we got the corporate tablet to think about. Now we got the corporate cell phones, the iPhone, the Samsung, the Windows phones, a whole variety of different devices which can now be secured and be brought into the office. And users are really requesting this at the end of the day. If you think about it, how many of you actually use an iPhone, use a Samsung or some form of Android device instead of a BlackBerry, right? And really, I suspect a large majority of you, of course. And what it really comes down to from the perspective of IT as well is that we cannot keep that standardized approach. We really have to adopt a hybrid, a more tailored approach to this matter, and really ensure that everybody in the company is getting the right security measures. But of course, we're also empowering people. We're also giving them that ability to go mobile and doing so while minimizing the risk of loss of intellectual property, data leakage, etc. So that brings us on to the first thing, which is XenMobile. Now, XenMobile is what we call an enterprise mobility management solution. And we were the first in the industry to coin this term because it really means much more than just MDM. You may be familiar with the concept of MDM, which is mobile device management. Well, with EMM, with enterprise mobility management, we're talking far more beyond that. We're talking about an ecosystem of apps, having that ability to secure your apps on top of the security of the device. So obviously providing the basic layer of MDM, but just going beyond that, offering the ability of to provide a conduit of information to your users. So provide that corporate app store so that you can deliver content to your users, deliver the apps that you may even be developing. A lot of you may be thinking about developing apps for your companies, for your processes, for your business processes, optimization, all that sort of stuff. And really what you want is an EMM vehicle to deliver that, but at the same time, secure your user devices, secure your communications. So you secure email, secure the calendars, contacts, and obviously the data that you're putting on those devices, the management that users give to attachments, right? So it's very important that we look at the whole spectrum of things that you're going to require, or that an EMM solution brings to the table beyond the basic MDM securities, which of course are included, but we just take it that further one step and give you really a comprehensive solution that you can use to manage the apps and manage the devices. Now, another advantage of this is that it's obviously going to allow you to add layered security, what we call contextual security, to your users, which means it's not a big daddy approach, it's not a big manager approach, but we actually can get pretty granular with the policies and apply security where it is required. And that's really where ShareFile comes in, which is our secure document data sync and share solution, our EFSS solution. And where that's going to add is another layer of security on top of the MDM and the MAM, the mobile application management. You're going to have the mobile content management layer, and that's what ShareFile does for you. It's going to allow you to secure your documents, secure your files, and of course provide also a vehicle to deliver them to mobile devices, to access them securely without the need for that corporate VPN, without the data leaving your control, being able to access the data on the fly, being able to edit data on the fly, and obviously do so while adhering to corporate policy, adhering to IT oversight, and preventing data loss, preventing obviously data leakage. So we'll go into these two a little further ahead. For the time being, I want to take a step back and really look at what this has cost for an enterprise. So the presence of these kinds of products, of these kinds of risks, of course, that need to be mitigated, has really provided us with three important things. So first of all is a workflow transformation, which means that we can now work in a different way. Being mobile allows us to work in a different way. It allows us to work on the fly and obviously get to those spots where we might have direct access to raw data or stuff like that, and really be present where the workflow leads us. Also, it allows us some workforce engagement, which is there is much more collaboration, right? We need they're part of the reason why an EFSS solution, so a content management solution, is so valuable, is that you're going to be able to collaborate in teams. You're going to be able to collaborate virtually in a much more succinct way. And finally, we also have the reinvention of the workplace. So what all this comes down to is really that the new workspace, the new workplace, the new workspace, as we envisioned it at Citrix, is a mobile workspace, and it really comes down to work is something that you do, is not somewhere where you go, right? So really, what all of these solutions are about at the end of the day is bringing that productivity, that agility, and that mobility to your business, and of course to your IT departments as well, so that there is no security compromise for the benefits of mobility. Now, I want to take a quick second to show you the next slide, which is about our product portfolio. Now, I think this is a very important thing to show you, because if most of you could potentially be already Citrix customers, you could potentially have some of our virtualization solutions already in place, or maybe some of our networking solutions, as you may know, XenApp, XenDesktop, or NetScaler. The reason I show you this is because Citrix really is across the whole mobility experience spectrum, and what really that symbolizes for you, what that signifies at the end of the day, is that we can offer you a total value cost, total value of ownership that is far superior to a lot of our competitors who might only be in some of the categories that you are seeing on the screen. Well, we are across all the different silos, and the benefit of that also is that our products integrate between each other. So you'll see that our EMM solution actually integrates with our virtualization solution, and you can present virtualized apps as well to mobile users. All of this also is secured in a network fashion via our NetScaler networking solution. So really, at the end of the day, what I want to, if there's a couple of things that I want to leave you with, is Citrix is really empowering the mobility across the whole different spectrum, and it really, at the end of the day, it offers you a variety of solutions that is going to have the best impact to your company, to your investment as well. So that being said, I think that's about enough PowerPoint for the time being. We're going to move on to the demo side of things and really show you what our product is about and what really is behind all of these mobility challenges. Now, I'm going to take this moment to actually mention something cool. I'm actually giving this presentation from Buenos Aires, Argentina right now. So wherever you you may actually be located right this minute. I am currently half across the globe for most of you, and one of the ways that I've managed to keep connected and really on point with my work and my access has been using our mobility solution, which is installed on all of my devices. So that being said, I'm going to start by first taking you through a couple minutes of demo on the client side of things. So this is on the user experience for our solution. So I have a couple of devices here, screen shared on my screen. We're going to start first of all with one of my favorite devices, the Apple iPad. Now, tablets, as you may imagine, have become very, very important in the workplace. A lot of it because of just the way that a tablet works. It provides a perfect screen size to do some work, but at the end also provides us some neat portability. So if you can see right now, I have my device here. You can see that I have my corporate apps actually commingling with my personal apps. So you can see, for instance, my Air Canada app, my Netflix app, but of course I also have a big tab here just for my corporate apps. Now, a couple of things that I want to draw your attention to. So for instance, if I just take my secure email application right down here, Worksmail, you can see that actually any of the apps that are on the screen right now, I can actually move them and place them wherever I really want them to be. So what this is obviously that you can see that there is security on this iPad, but the user experience per se is not affected, which means I don't actually have to go to a container and open up some container on this iPad to view my corporate apps, but my corporate apps are actually commingling here with my personal apps. But the container is there. The iPad is actually being protected via a set of MDM policies as well as my containerized app solution. So that's really the value proposition of our approach. So I'm going to start first of all with our Works Home application. So I'm going to go ahead and launch Works Home right down here. Works Home is our corporate app store. It's where we can go to get our corporate applications. So you can see right now it authenticated me. I'm actually on the App Store already, and you can see that I have the ability to swipe right or swipe left to get support really quickly from somebody. You can see down here we could add the numbers for support. Of course, we could also add customization to this and branding in case you want to make it look and feel a little more like your corporate intranet, perhaps. I'm going to go ahead and open and launch the Works Store so that you can see actually the whole variety of apps that have been made available to me by my IT administrators. Now, what this is also meant to show you is that we have the ability to aggregate a whole variety of apps and categories of apps. You can really easily organize them via categories and make sure that every user is really receiving the right app that they need to do their job, right? So what you can see here, for instance, a variety of Windows apps, Microsoft Office Suite, some data collaboration apps like GoToMeeting or GoToWebinar, which is what we're using right now to connect across the globe. But you can also see some financial applications, and some of them from some of our clients. So you can see, for instance, American Express or TD, a very popular one that which you probably use, Hyperion. So of course, those applications can be distributed to your users, and as you can see, neatly categorized so that we make sure that it is very easy for administrators to distribute the right applications, the right permissions to everybody. So what you're seeing right now, actually, in order for me to have gotten this, all I needed to do was enroll the iPad, which is a very quick process. It can take under a minute to enroll any device into our solution. And the benefits, of course, is that if you think about it from a perspective of a user that just joined the organization, you could distribute all of this content, all of the access that that new user is required to have via just enrolling his device. So you can actually put in place a BYOD policy, and by BYOD I mean bring your own device policy. You can let your user bring in his iPhone, bring in his iPad, and you can just enroll that iPad and provide him with corporate resources like linked over here, or your secure email client, which you can see a nice check mark there on all of the applications that I've already installed. So again, very easy to provide a corporate store to your users. You can see that everything lives on the iPad itself. And I want to draw your attention to a couple neat things while we're at it. So you may see that I also have a couple of icons here. The Citrix desktop, for instance, the Microsoft Visio, and the SAP, for instance. You may be thinking to yourself, well, Microsoft Visio doesn't make a mobile app. Indeed, actually, that app that you're seeing there on my screen is actually a virtualized app, so a XenApp and XenDesktop app from our virtualization platform, but it's being delivered to your to the device in question here via our XenMobile solution. So again, great point here to integrate with the different solutions that you may have in place. If I just scroll up again to our App Store here, you can see the whole Office suite, not necessarily mobile applications, but they are mobilized applications. So Windows applications delivered via XenMobile, of course. So again, great value proposition here for customers that already have some of our technologies in place. So I'm going to start, first of all, by showing one of the applications that I use the most, which is, of course, our email solution. Now, very important, I would have to say that at least 95% of our customers first approach a EMM vendor because of the email, right? We got this challenge in front of us, which is email, secure email, delivering email to a device that is not a BlackBerry, for instance. But we also want to do that without, not only without security compromises, but with a little intelligence as well, with a little cleverness, right? So what you can see right now is our email solution. You can see that our email solution actually has integrated calendar and contacts into the very same application. That's a very neat feature to have. So you can see, for instance, I have here my weekly calendar. I can very quickly see what I have in the works for the day. And you can see that we are delivering this presentation. I can see the information about this presentation here. I can also look at the agenda view to see what I have coming up. And you can see that it also gives me the ability to dial into any meeting that I have. I can actually send an email that I'm running late. I can forward the meeting. So a very comprehensive calendar client here. If I were to add a new meeting to this calendar, I could actually even go further and say I could add the web and audio conferencing information right away from my touch here. So very, very easy for you to really go mobile. And I'll tell you one thing from personal experience, I do not miss my computer when I'm on the road, and I actually do most of these presentations from an iPad itself. So as you can see right now, I got my mail, my calendar, the contacts. Just want to show you something neat. If I want to search for a contact that is in my organization, but I might not actually have him in my contacts, I'm going to go ahead and search for our CEO, Mark Templeton. So you can see, for instance, that I can very quickly locate a contact from within my Exchange directory, so our full server-side gal search for Exchange, and you can see that I could perfectly add our CEO to my contact, and we can maybe even send him a text message right now, which we're not going to do, or maybe even FaceTime. Yeah, there you go. So course, we're not going to do any of that right here, but the point being very easy for you, not just to find any contact that you need to, but it really is a handy tool for when you're traveling and need to find somebody's contact information or name. Now you can see that I have a demo email that I've preset for us here. Now, a couple of interesting things to note. I just emailed myself this information. I want to show you a couple of interesting things that we can do via our solution. So the first thing that I might want to draw your attention to is that there is a couple of things on this email. First of all, there's a couple of attachments. We have a PDF and an Excel document. These could be very sensitive information that we don't want falling into the wrong hands, right? So first order of business, let's visualize this Excel. You can see that I have the financial statements for our Q1 release. Now, I could very quickly review this information here, but if I want to go ahead and edit that information, maybe edit it securely, you can see that I can order to open this information in a variety of applications. But you can actually see that I have a limited set of applications where I can open this information. So let's go ahead and open it here in WorksEdit. Now, WorksEdit is our secure content editor within the container. So what that means is that the application, our mail application, is going to talk directly within the container to that WorksEdit application. It's going to open that Excel sheet for us so that we can make any edits on the fly, and we can very quickly visualize this information and have a very, very powerful content editor here. You can see right now that I'm scrolling, and I do apologize if there is a bit of a lag in the display as I'm talking. We are halfway across the world, so there is a little latency. Now, I do want to show you a couple of neat things that we could actually do with this Excel sheet. So if we just wanted to say, for instance, add a little formula here into this blank box, we could perfectly have any formula that is available on Excel used here. Again, a very powerful content editor. We can switch the colors, a variety of color schemes. We can switch the type of value that we're actually going to enter in here. If we want currency, if we want date, time, etc. We can change the size of the box. We can also change the type of background that we're going to put in it. Really a very powerful tool at the end of the day. If you look at it, we can modify the type of box that we have there. And then let's just go back to save this now. If we want to save this Excel sheet, we could perfectly save it as an Excel workbook. We could save it as a CSV, or we could save it as a PDF. So again, very easy just to save it as a PDF. I'm going to say here that we just edited this document. I'm going to put my initials here and go ahead and save it into my local file. So another neat thing there, as some of you may know, the iPad itself does not have a document tree like the Android devices do, but we can very easily save into the local files. And you can see here that I have the document that I just saved. I could very quickly just say open this document, and again you can see the limited set of applications which can open this document are limited to those within the container. I'm going to say open it in WorksMail, and of course it's going to direct me directly back to the application, to the mail application where I just was, and it's going to allow me to actually put in either a new email or just reply it to myself. So I could perfectly just go ahead and find the email that I used before, and I'm just going to reply to myself with that CSV loaded as a PDF now. So I'm going to go ahead and send that very quickly now, and we're going to go back to what we were showing before. Another thing that I want to show you, a very important one actually. Let's assume for a minute there that I got my, actually you can see that the email already came in here. So let's go back to our original email, and let's go ahead and open the PDF attachment. Now, this is something that I do quite often if I ever need to state, for instance, myself a travel expense document. Let's assume for a minute that I need to sign this document, so you can see the signature down there. And as a matter of fact, while I'm at it, I'm also going to go ahead and share it with my manager in a very easy way. So I'm going to go ahead and open this document in ShareFile. And while I show you this, let me just talk about ShareFile for a second. So as I mentioned earlier, ShareFile is our EFSS solution, so our enterprise file sync and sharing solution. So you can see right there that it actually single signed me on to my ShareFile, and it's asking me which folder do I want to upload this in. So I'm just going to go ahead and look in my favorite folders, find the demo folder that I always use for these kinds of presentations, and go ahead and quickly hit upload. So again, you can see that the upload has already completed, and I'm just going to go here and stop for a second and talk about what we're seeing here. So you can see that I have shared folders, so that's folders to which I am privy to that are being shared with me. Let's just quickly go in and see some of the stuff that may be in here. So these are folders of projects or groups that are currently being worked on. So you can see a couple of deliverables, maybe the Halloween pictures. So information to which I've been shared access to, but I may not be the owner. However, via ShareFile, I have access to this information, and based on the rights that the person who shared this gives me, I can actually go ahead and edit or upload or download documents in a fashion in which I see fit. Of course, some of the other stuff that we're seeing SharePoint, for instance. We got a connector to SharePoint, and I also have a personal cloud connector to, for instance, Dropbox or OneDrive. If you have a personal account, we allow it, and your IT administrators allow it, then you could probably sync that as well in there. Now, a couple of other interesting things. We do have access to network share, so you could see, for instance, that if you have some form of drive to which you use to share information, you could perfectly go in here and access that information right from this app. And bear in mind, this data could be sitting on-premise or in the cloud. So again, great solution for just managing the access to data, right? The data may be sitting somewhere on your on-premise. It doesn't get moved from there, but you're brokering access to it and also providing some value added to the user. Let's just go into the folder that I just uploaded my document into, and you can see that I have my expense report here. So how are we providing value to the user? You can see a whole variety of documents in here. These are being synced across all of my devices. Let's just go ahead in here and edit this PDF so we can actually share it back to my manager very, very quickly. So let's assume that right now, for instance, I could be doing this while I am while I'm traveling abroad, which is exactly my situation right now. So you can see I can review the expense report here, and I could, let's actually see that I've already signed that. So I could very quickly just go ahead and say that I want to edit something here. So I could add a little color here, maybe highlight something right there, add a text box if necessary, and let's assume that I haven't actually signed it, but I could just perfectly go in here and say add a final draft button here, very, very easy, and finally just put in my signature, so I can say it's either my signature or some customer signature. Bear in mind, great solution if you need to get a signature from a customer and immediately upload it into a safe deposit or a safe harbor where that document will be stored. ShareFile is the way. So I'm just going to put in my signature, and you can see that my signature is already preloaded there. So again, in a matter of seconds, I can very quickly just say save this document, and the changes will be saved in it. So again, while this is actually synchronizing back, I can actually switch back to my email application and very quickly send an email to my manager just saying that document has already been upload it. Now, throughout this, I actually haven't mentioned anything about the secure networking communications. And let's think about that for a second. Let's just think about why the app took a couple seconds to open up where you could see the name of the app. What was happening during that time was the app was actually creating a secure VPN connection to my Exchange server. So let's not forget, I'm here in Argentina. I could be at an internet cafe or something where the connection is not secure, but the app is creating a micro VPN back to my secure network where I actually don't have to worry about the security aspect of the network that I'm in. So again, great way to just add value to your users by not having them go through a painful VPN process that maybe is going to limit some of the functionality on their devices, or it's going to ruin their personal apps, their connectivity to Facebook or something like that, right? We add security where it contextually matters. So I'm going to go ahead and attach that document from ShareFile very quickly here. You can see that automatically my ShareFile account is synced into my email application, and I can just go here into my favorite folders, find the demo file that I was using, and attach this expense report, and my manager is going to get that link where very easily I can track the downloads for that document and even restrain users who are not in the organization from downloading them. Again, great solution here to just keep track of everything, keep track of documents. So that, I mean, from a perspective of our email application, that's about what I wanted to show you. Let me switch over devices here for a second, and I'm actually going to put up a different device right now. So I am going to put up now an Android device, which a lot of you may actually be using Android. So right now, what you can see, for instance, is I got the same set of applications on Android. I got my Works Home client. You can see that I'm going to open it really quickly, and it's going to ask me for my Works PIN. So what is this Works PIN? This Works PIN is actually a very quick way for me to provide access to my security container within that device. I'm just going to type in my PIN. It's far easier for user experience to provide a 6-digit PIN. You can edit this. You can provide it, whatever security requirements you want for that PIN, and actually not having to prompt your users for an Active Directory password at all times, right? So again, you can use your PIN to authenticate to any of the apps very, very easily. Now let's look for a second again at our mail application, and we're actually going to consider something that we hadn't talked about earlier, which is access to our intranet. So as you can see here, we have the same set of emails. It's all synced. So I'm just going to go ahead and really quickly launch that link that was in my original email. So you can see that that link actually points to the intranet.citrix.net. You can see that it's asking me, where do I want to complete this? Well, I want to complete it with Works Web. So Works Web, again, our secure browsing application. You can see that it is starting our secure connection. And what that's doing is actually connecting via a VPN back to my intranet, and it's going to give me that ability to access my intranet site very, very quickly. So you can see there, we're browsing our intranet. Very, very easy to access that. And let's not forget that I am miles away from the nearest Citrix office, but I can actually see that intranet. And not just that, but I'm actually single signed on to it. So you can see that I'm already signed on. I'm in the container. It's secure, right? So if I were to try to copy paste something from here, I would be protected because of the controls that we can also put on the different platforms. So if we just go ahead and select something from here, and we can say copy and try to paste this, we can go ahead and try to paste this somewhere outside of the container. Let's try, for instance, just pasting it in let's just try to paste it somewhere here on Chrome. So let's give it a shot here. And you can see that it actually does not allow me to paste the information that I was previously using. So I'm clicking the paste button there, but it does not allow me to paste anything. So again, great way to protect your data. You can use that clipboard in a fashion that it just protects your users and sensitive data wherever appropriate, right? Now let's go back here to our applications. I just want to show you a couple more things. So again, Android device, we have the exact same set of applications that we were using earlier. Again, it's a non-invasive procedure here, and for that matter. I'm just going to go ahead and launch Works Notes really quickly, just to provide you with a view of our Notes application, and you can see that I've actually not set that application up. But no matter, because we're actually just going to use it in the iPad. No problem. So let's just go ahead and launch it in my iPad here. Go back to my iPad device. And I want to just show you from this application, very neat way to just take notes. It's like having a secure note-taking client. Again, let's just recap what we've seen so far. We've seen secure email, we've seen secure browsing, we've seen secure document editing and sharing, and now secure note-taking. So if I just go in here, you can see that I have my different notes with information. They are actually geotagged, so you can see a picture here of my bag right now. It's geotagged, so it's actually showing right now where I am. And again, very, very easy for you to just share this. And let's not forget that it's being synced back to our ShareFile account as well. So if I just wanted to send that note, I could perfectly send it as an email attachment. It does sync with my calendar, so that if I do want to just send it to the attendees of this meeting, for instance, that is something that I would perfectly do. Again, a very valuable thing to have, a note-taking client, and it's not. It doesn't just stop there. We got a couple more apps that I would love to show you, but for the sake of time, we're just going to keep it simple. But you can see here that we have the variety of different notebooks, and again, our apps are interrelated between them, so that if we wanted to, from an email, create a note, we would be able to very quickly just go back to the email app and create a new note. Again, you can see that the note defaults into our application, and you can see there that it's geotagging it with my location right now. So again, very easy for me to just have a conduit to report something, maybe take some notes, maybe assist in some form taking, or maybe just take down some information from customers. Again, the point of this is that you can use it however you see fit in your business as well. And let's not forget that we also allow you the possibility of bringing in your own applications and using our secure content technology to lock them into the container and have them securely delivered to devices. So let's just look at an example of that. You can see Salesforce right here. That's the Works Salesforce app. That's going to allow me to actually access our Salesforce securely. And again, that app is part of the container, so it extends all of the security that we have on that. Now we've looked at this from the viewpoint of the user. So now let's transition over for a quick 5 minutes to what this looks like from an administrator standpoint, and then we're gonna leave some time for questions at the end. So I'm just gonna switch over here to my browser on my computer, and I'm gonna very quickly just take you through the management console of XenMobile, so that you can see also what your administrators experience is like. And let's not forget that it is very important to see just exactly how much does our solution ease the administration for all these devices. You know, in a lot of situations, you could have a variety of devices. You could have thousands of devices or thousands of users that want to be accessing this. So we're just going to quickly log on to our XenMobile console here and take you through some of the management steps that we can do. Sorry there, I had a little network space out there for a second, but I'm back on. So you can see here that we've just landed on the dashboard of our XenMobile console. So you can see that we are presented with summaries of the devices that we have. You can see that we have 56% Android devices. I actually don't have 16 devices, but I'm showing you a demo version of our console right here. So you can see that, for instance, we have a variety of different Android versions. We could also look at the iOS devices that we have, and again, see the different versions here, nice in color, and just use this information to apply policies. For instance, if we wanted to apply a certain action to all of the 8.1 iOS devices, we could apply, we can send them a notification or fully wipe the device, selectively wipe. So again, back to our security features, let's not forget that it's very important if a user loses a phone with sensitive information on it, or loses a device where something such as the information that I just manipulated on my device is being held, financial information, expense reports, maybe even user private data, it's important to have that ability to wipe those devices. Let's say if your users forget it at a bar or something, you can very quickly remove all of the corporate data or wipe the full device and also remove the user data. So basically like a factory reset in case your user requests it. Now from a perspective of management also, I just want to take you through some very quick configuration here. I'm going to show you the apps really quickly and just show you how we can add security to the different apps in a very easy fashion. So I'm just going to go here to the apps dashboard and just really show you a quick what the configuration of our Worksmail application looks like, so that you can see, for instance, that we can have a variety of security factors in place. So you can see, for instance, that we can request an app passcode to be enforced. So we can request the application to use Wi-Fi. If you have an application that you only want it to run on an internal network, you can actually define the internal network right here so that it does not run outside your organization. Again, let's go back to the contextual security argument. Not all of the security means just block access. It means just give intelligent access, right? So we will have an app or a resource that should only be used in internal networks. That's something that we would be able to allow here. Of course, encryption at the highest levels. We have device level encryption and application or container level encryption. And finally, you can manage the cut, copy, and paste behavior from here. So you could restrict it, you could limit it to the container, or you could open it up depending on what your user experience demands or what your security concerns demand. And finally, I also want to just show you how we can very quickly block the camera on a certain application. So we could block the camera for the container essentially, but leave the user with the ability to use their camera at any point in time. So back to BYOD, if your user is bringing in their own device, if I'm bringing in my iPad like I just showed you, the last thing I want is for the management or IT admins to be limiting the way in which I use that device. So you could do it perfectly for the container, but not device-wide. Again, you could do that with dictation, location services, backups. If you don't want your corporate applications, your corporate data being backed up to iCloud, or to the user's iCloud. Of course, that's something that you could limit right here. And again, let's not forget, it's all about the security. It's about accounting for these kinds of possibilities, right? You might not have this trouble in the BlackBerry, but if you're going to allow your users to use iOS, you got to think about blocking the iCloud and making sure that, for instance, your users are not backing up their data, their corporate data, onto their personal clouds or stuff like that. So again, very neat to have that functionality. And let's not forget that this means also that you can be as restrictive as you want. So if you don't want to allow, if you want to allow it for certain set of executives maybe, or a certain set of users, you can perfectly do that. Again, finally, talking about the network access, so I showed you how we can access the internet and internal resources using ShareFile and Works Web. Very neat to have if you have some web apps or some information that needs to be inputted via an intranet. Now you can take your intranet with you onto the handheld device, make sure that it's encrypted, make sure that it's secured, and have that neat access from wherever you are in the globe. Again, you can and finally, I just want to show you how you can pre-configure the applications to point to the right Exchange or ShareFile servers, so that when your user actually gets the application, they don't have to configure anything. It's already pre-configured for them, and they can be productive from day zero. So again, just a nice overall thing to have. The last couple of things that I'm going to show you is I'm going to show you how we also have a Works Notes web console, so you could perfectly access the very same notes that you saw on my iPad. I could access them from my web right here, so a neat thing to have, as well as ShareFile. So we do have a web console for document sharing and note-taking, again, making this an overall more usable solution. So it's 2:53. I'm going to go ahead and stop right here and leave some time for questions. I do invite you to please share your thoughts around this, or maybe if you have some concerns that we can address, maybe something that you'd like explained to you a little more in detail. I'd be happy to take any questions at this point.
Thanks, Ernesto. That was awesome. So again, just like Ernesto mentioned, please use the chat log on the bottom right to send in any questions that you've got, and he's happy to answer them now. We do have a few that came in, so I'm just going to field them over to you, and we can get started there. So the first one that came in is, what's the licensing like for XenMobile?
All right, that's an awesome question. Do we have Tony on the line?
I think we do.
So I'm just wondering, Tony, if that's something that you'd like to jump in and take for us, or I can just quickly go over that as well. Okay, it doesn't look like Tony is up there. We actually licensing for XenMobile is actually very flexible. You can have the solution in the cloud or on premise. So again, very neat feature to have there. Full functionality parity between the cloud or on-premise. So if you want to host it in your own servers, that's fine. If you want to put it up in the cloud and maybe have that overhead go over to the cloud, no need for infrastructure, and then that you keep the same functionality. So we do have, for those two, we have the same type of 3 licenses. We have MDM only. We have advanced, which includes MDM and email, secure browsing, and secure content editing. That is the advanced version. And finally, the enterprise version allows you to have access to the secure note-taking, the ShareFile enterprise. So we basically throw in a ShareFile enterprise license for free if you get XenMobile Enterprise. It's about the best value for money out there. And again, you can get all 3 types of licensing: MDM, Advanced, Enterprise, both in the cloud or on-premise as a subscription. So again, very flexible. If you're more interested, we'd be happy to take further questions on this offline to address the specific licensing that might be appropriate for your organization.
Yeah, and Ernesto, this is Tony speaking. I just want to add to that XenMobile obviously can also be part of the Workspace Suite offering, which encompasses existing XenApps and desktop infrastructures. So that is simplified for the administrators to get one license as opposed to individual solutions. But you're 100% correct. Cloud, on-premise, different functionality bundles are all available to every customer.
Excellent. The next question is, can you run this service on Citrix NetScaler?
Great question. I think what that question is referring to is, can we actually run it on an SDX appliance? If the person who asked the question could clarify that. Right.
Yeah, that's exactly, yes, exactly.
It's asking if we can run it on an SDX appliance. The answer is actually yes. For our XenMobile 9 version, you can run it on SDX appliance, and we're actually in the process of certifying our version 10 for it, for the SDX. But we do support any other hypervisors out there as well. So Hyper-V, VMware, XenServer, anything you have, XenMobile runs as a virtual appliance on them. Very easy for you to deploy.
Awesome. Okay, we've got another question. It's around MDX, actually. How does it work, and how is it protecting data?
Fabulous. Great question there. So the way that MDX is actually protecting your data is through an additional layer of encryption on top of the device that we add via our MDX container technology. So you essentially have 3 layers of encryption in XenMobile Enterprise, and we're the only ones in the industry that can actually claim that, those 3 layers. We got the first layer of encryption, which is provided to you via MDM. That means we are requesting an endpoint encryption. That means device-level encryption. Then we add the container on top of that, so we got a whole different set of encryption on top of the container. And again, you can choose. You can use actually your own personal certificates to encrypt that layer, so that again you have the keys to the kingdom. It's not like Citrix has visibility over that. You have the keys to your own protection. You encrypt the container, and finally the third layer is ShareFile, which is that secure layer of document sharing and all that stuff on top of the container as well. So those 3 layers, and let's for a final security pillar also is the secured communication, which is being provided by the NetScaler. So throughout all of this, all of the communication was going through a Citrix NetScaler, all of it flowing encrypted. Lauren, any further questions that may have come in?
Actually, with one, we're right at 2 o'clock, and it doesn't look like we've got any other questions. So I think we're all set. I want to say thank you again to Andrew, Ernesto, and Tony for supporting the webinar today. I want to thank everybody else who was able to join us. Just a reminder that the webinar was recorded, so the content will be available to anyone who's interested. But if there are no further questions, give you guys the rest of your afternoon, and have a great day. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thank you very much for joining. Bye-bye.
Thank you.